Hey all, JTC here, and welcome to the first submitted viewer gameplay review. Thank you so much for JWilly for submitting this for me to review. I have not reviewed this whatsoever. I have not looked into this game or looked at the end or anything, so I'm going into this completely blind, just as much as you guys are. And yeah, let's get to reviewing. So we're starting here on Righteous Stand. It looks like he's quick playing into a game. So something when you're quick playing into a game is you definitely want to choose a character you're comfortable playing with. Simply because you don't know what careers you're going to be playing with. You know the characters that you're going to be playing with, but you don't know specifically what careers they're going to be playing. So at that point, you don't know what the strengths of the team is. You don't know what the weaknesses of the team is. So you definitely want to choose something that is going to kind of cover everything, ideally. And he's playing Footknight here, which is actually a really good thing considering that they have a Waystalker and an Outcast Engineer, and technically a bot, but you can't expect a bot to be a frontliner. So yeah, he definitely did fill in a role for the team that they needed, which is very, very good. He is rocking Mace and Sword, which is a pretty damn good Kruber weapon. Probably the best Kruber weapon, if you ask me. Very good offensive and defensive capabilities, so he's definitely covered in that aspect. So right now there really isn't much going on. It's the start of the game, which is actually he's very lucky to get into, because he's starting, with full ammo, full health, ult charge, rather than coming in, into the middle of a potentially bad situation that could, go really, really poorly. I can't tell if the Waystalker is running Swiftbow, which is definitely going to be interesting, considering they're not going to have that much sniping capabilities, depending on what the Outcast Engineer is running. Oh, he is running handgun, though, so they definitely do have sniping capabilities. Also, the bot does have crossbow, it seems, so assuming the bot actually stays alive, I think they're going to be fine with specials. Video's a little laggy, but that's fine. So looks like they are going for Grims and Tomes. So usually when you're on Legend, it's generally best to expect on Legend that players are going to want to pick up Tomes and Grims, simply because Legend is the highest difficulty. That's not Cataclysm. That gives the highest rewards possible. So for the most part, people are playing Legend. Sadly, this is just how it is. People are playing Legend not for the fun of it, but to grind rewards. So you definitely want to expect most of the time that people are going to be going for rewards. So it's not awful to assume that they're going to be taking Grims and Tomes. So you definitely want that Curse Resistance Charm. Looks like he just got dinged by something. I still can't tell what the Outcast Engineer is running here. It looks like he's running Masterwork Pistol. Also, from what I'm seeing, the game he's playing is definitely a little laggy. I just missed it. He definitely had the right idea there with the hook rat. Normally, if you're not confident in your aim, you definitely want to. Let me backtrack. I am confident. I, as a player, am confident in my aim simply because I was a competitive sniper in Overwatch back in the day. So I don't really have troubles aiming. But if you have trouble aiming, what you definitely want to do is you want to wait until different specials are in different locking animations in order to hit them. So at the very beginning, the hook rat kind of spawned behind here and then had to jump over the wall. That would have been an opportunity to shoot him. Right here, he's in the air and he's going to fall on the ground. And when he falls on the ground, as you can see, he has a brief animation where he's landing just for a split second. But that brief animation where he lands right there is enough for him to actually get the shot off. And for some reason, he didn't take it here. I don't know why. But he definitely could have gotten that shot off if he reacted a little bit quicker. So yeah, you definitely do. If you're not confident in your aim, you definitely want to wait for specials to be in kind of a locked animation before trying to shoot them. And for leeches, that's not too much of a problem because they're literally stationary. They don't move. But assassins, especially since they're constantly moving, you want to wait until they're kind of in their pounce animation before trying to shoot them. And then hook rats, you want to wait until they're in a. That elf just ate that sword to the face. Holy shit. But for a hook rats, you kind of want to wait until they're in some kind of vaulting, climbing, or drop-down animation. Good thing what they're doing here is they're making sure that there are no other there are no other specials spawning around before they hit the thing, and they're making sure that no horde spawns, and they're making sure that everyone's ready. They've gone around, they've collected all the supplies, because supplies can be a lot of places. It can be on this table. Stuff will spawn on this table right here. stuff can spawn in this crate right here. There's also a crate like this on the other side that it can spawn in. To the left, there is this bookshelf kind of thing over here that it can spawn in. There's that other mirrored crate that it can spawn in as well. So there are a lot of places that things can spawn. So you definitely want to keep your eye out for things that can spawn here. Usually you want to take like one look around, one walk around, make sure that you've gotten everything here before moving on. I can see he's getting in his arm workout for the day. So I can hear there's the hook rat. I heard the hook rat before. That's good. Good on him for using his ult. Yeah, especially if you're going to get disabled, don't be stingy with your ult. Just use it. He did fail. Something that I did see. Let's see if I can back up and grab it. To the right over here. About right over here. Right there. So right here, you have two guys coming at you. Actually, technically three. Because there's one right here. There's one right here. That right there. And I think there's technically one behind. I can't tell if he's alive or dead right now, but I'm going to assume he's alive. So there's three guys to the right of you, and he continues to attack the guy to the left. What he should have done here was he should have turned to the right and dealt with the more serious threats, which were right to the right of him, because these guys are closer. They're not in a currently walking animation like this guy is, and this guy over here is eating shots from the Outcast Engineer, so he's being staggered currently. But these guys are much of a bigger threat than this guy right here is, so he should have turned to the right and dealt with the more active threats to his right, and he did, and that's what caused him to get hit. I have no idea why that hook rat missed his lunge. Also, I already can't remember if I said this, but this game does look a little bit laggy. The frame rate's a little bit laggy, sure, but the actual ping he's on is a little bit laggy, which does kind of change how you have to play. With lag, you have to play a little more defensively rather than offensively, simply because you don't have the reaction time. Not because you as a player don't have the reaction time. You might have a perfectly fine reaction time, but the problem is the game that you're playing doesn't have the good enough reaction time. I think he meant to heal the elf, but he accidentally healed the Outcast Engineer instead. Because otherwise I have no idea why he healed the Outcast Engineer there. Because, wait, did he go down? Outcast Engineer he might have gone down, actually. Hold up. Oh, yeah, he went down. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, so this is definitely a thing. You should always be looking at what items your team has. Because if you had noticed, the elf is carrying the tome, the bot is carrying a heal, but the Outcast Engineer also had a heal on him that he just drank and cleared his wounds with. So the usage of a medkit here, he was being a good teammate. He was trying to be a good teammate by healing his teammate. But what he failed to realize was that the Outcast Engineer had already healed himself, in which at that point results in a wasted medkit. So you always got to be paying attention to what resources your team has and if they're using it or not. And see, now at this point, this is when you would have wanted to use the medkit, because the bot can't pass his healing potion to her simply because there is no... she doesn't have a free slot for it. So this is when he would have wanted to turn around and use the medkit on the elf, simply because the elf has no other healing otherwise. But that he used it, there's no healing anymore. And I mean, if the Outcast Engineer survived, the bot could have passed it to him. Oh, okay. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's go back a little bit and kind of see what happens. So right here, there's gas. Not a great idea to stay up there when there's gas. Here come the monks. The monks are definitely not a great thing, especially when you're on ping dealing with. Outcast Engineer goes down. And at this point, the Rattling Gunner starts. And right there, it's kind of hard to see with the low res, but right about there. Right there at the top, you can see the Blightstormer spawn. Or I think it's either a Blightstormer or a Leech. I think you hear the Blightstormer, so you hear him. But at this point, you need to get off of this ledge. Because you were getting assaulted by this... you were getting, 1, assaulted by this Rattling Gunner. 2, you're about to get a storm on you if it's a Blightstormer. 3, you have a gas rat chucking globes at you. 4, you have monks on you. At this point, this is not a good position to be in. And 5, you just lost someone. So at this point, you need to get off of this platform and begin circling around. Whoever has the range of the team needs to kill this Ratling as fast as possible. So either this J. Willie here needs to shoot it with his handgun, or this Waystalker needs to ult it to get it out of the ring as fast as possible. Because the Blightstormer, as long as you're not standing on the platform where it's being cast, you can kite around all you want. All day. You can just avoid the Blightstormer all you want, but you cannot avoid the Rattling Gunner here. And for some reason, I think he tries to rescue them, but that doesn't really go very well. And that was a very risky maneuver, considering the Blightstormer could have picked him up and flung him, injured him. And at that point, the Waystalker would have died from the hook because the bot wouldn't have been there to save her. So that was a very risky maneuver. It would have been better for him to actually just get out of dodge. Sometimes you just have to understand that you can't save your team and you have to leave, and you have to have kind of a sense of self-preservation. Sometimes people do get pissy with you. That's just the way of the game. You know, why didn't you save me? Why didn't you at least try, bro? Come on, dude. But sometimes you just have to have the foresight to see that you're not going to be able to help them. Oh yeah, look at that red ping. Yikes. Enemies running through the wall here is very common. They're actually... so, fun fact about the enemies running through the wall here. When they're running through a wall like this, they're not actually any threat to you. Simply because they're not actually there yet. The only place that they actually are is they're still climbing up. They're still technically not on your level. They're just, for whatever reason, they're floating through the wall. So they're not actually a threat to you. They can't actually hit you. So yeah, it's a good thing to get some free damage on them now. But definitely the moment that real enemies come in, the Stormvermin, you want to start immediately shooting the Stormvermin as fast as you can. And see, this is good. He's playing a lot more defensively right now because he knows he's on bad ping. At the beginning, he checked, and he saw that his ping was red. And now he's playing a little bit more defensively, now that he sees his ping is not as good as it once was. Because it didn't seem this bad when it first started. So that is definitely a good thing on his part. Whoops, mistaken. Awkward jump there. This is definitely not... actually... So this can go one of two ways. Right here, if you saw, the bot and the Waystalker were both in this room. You could make an argument that the Footknight here should also stay in this room and be with his team. Because, you know, you're stronger together and you can take out the Horde. And you could make the argument that right here he could get pounced by the Gutter Runner and his team wouldn't be able to save him and he would die and it would be his fault. But you could also make the argument that this is a bad place to hold out. Simply because if you get overwhelmed, you're not going to be able to go anywhere. If you have a Warp Fire Thrower come up, if you have a Rattling Gunner come up, if you have a... dense pack of elites come up, if you have a what is it? They throw globes. The Globadiers come up. This is going to be a horrible spot to hold, and it could definitely lead to your death. So technically, you kind of have to... This is a place where you have to read the situation. Simply because it could be a good or bad situation depending on what happens. And right here, I would say it was a better idea to kind of stay with the team at this point. Wow, that was lucky. Because right here, if the Hook Rat would have taken him to the left this way instead, that would have been a wipe for him. He would have died. I highly doubt the elf would have had the foresight to to try to kill the Hook Rat, and even if she did, it would have been nearly impossible for her to get any shots, because A, she's using Swiftbow, which is not a great special killer, and B, the ult can be hard to aim sometimes in the middle of a Horde. But instead, he gets incredibly lucky, and it literally... This Hook Rat just delivers him to the elf. Look at that. Just, here you go. Here you go, elf. Apparently that Hook Rat is a elf simp. And then the elf is gone. Yeah, so, who lit that barrel? Because that was a very good barrel. I don't know if that was a mistake or an accident, but that was actually a good barrel, because that does help him survive. Sure, it's doing some damage to him, and it's also killing the frames, but it definitely does help him survive, especially since he's on red ping and he's struggling. I guarantee you if he was on green ping or even yellow ping, he wouldn't have too much trouble here. But simply because he's on red ping, he's having a much more difficult time right now. Good horde clearing with the push attacks, keeping them staggered so you don't get hit. I don't know if he did that on purpose or on accident, but something interesting about the mace, the mace on the one-handed sword, you can see here that he simply light attacks this. I cannot remember the names of specials. Holy shit! He light attacks this warp fire thrower, and it staggers him out of his warp fire throw. If you're unaware with how stagger resistance works in the game, when a warp fire thrower is in the middle of his spray animation, they have very high stagger resistance. The light attack on the mace has incredibly high stagger. So something that you can do is you can block cancel the first light of the mace and sword, which is just light one block, light one block, light one block, and you can actually like infinitely stagger almost anything. I know in Cataclysm you can infinitely stagger Stormvermin like that. It's not going to do any damage to them unless you hit them in the head or crit, because it's not going to pierce through their armor, I don't believe, because it's a light attack. But it is going to keep them staggered, which is very, very good. So that is definitely a tool you should keep in mind when you're running this weapon. Good on him, he reloaded. The never-ending horde, that is right. That was a good ult, simply because he was kind of blocked from behind and he had a bunch of elites in front of him, and he kind of protects the bot there. Because let's be real, the bots do need babysitting in this game quite a bit. It's a hit there, unfortunately, which I don't really think he could have done much about because of his ping. Luckily, it looks like the... Oh, that was almost an overhead eaten. It looks like they spawn pretty close, so they probably have this res pretty easily. I'm also surprised, depending on the time of day and where Willy is located, it could be surprising or may not be surprising that no one's joined yet. I would usually expect someone to have joined by now, but I don't know. Because I believe this was recorded before Sister of the Thorn came out, so it's not like people are only trying to play Cerulean. You can note the elf picked up that healing drought right there. I think he had the right idea. Another thing with the assassin, whenever they hop down like that, can I do a slow playback speed here? Whenever they hop down like that, or they're always going to kind of crawl. Okay, let me try to rephrase what I was saying. Whenever an assassin crawls up something, be it a wall or a shelf or a table or a ledge or anything, at the very end of their animation, they do a little hop, a little cute hop, where they kind of like leap up into the air a little bit and then come back down. And they do the same, as you can see right here. They do the exact same thing. They do the exact same thing when they're dropping down. See, there's the hop right there. There's the hop. And then when he jumps down, he also hops in the air again. So something that you can do with the assassins is predict the hop and when they're or not when they're going to hop, but where in the air they're going to be when they do that little hop, because they're always going to do that 100% of the time. And you can aim and line up your shot at this. So if he predicted the hop, he could have aimed a little higher and put his reticle directly on the assassin and just dinged him. Because I mean, handgun, he's running good break. I'm assuming he's running at least half decent breakpoints, and I don't even think handgun matters for assassin. I think it just one-shots assassins regardless. So it doesn't matter if you get the assassin in his pinky toe. It's going to kill him regardless. You don't have to get a meat shot or a headshot on him. You just have to hit him. And see, he tries to drag up his aim there and is a little too late. I'm not going to lie, I thought Outcast Engineer was a Skaven for a second. I was about to say, oh, look to your left. I do that all the time. I always think Bard... Oof. Bots are good, by the way. I always think Outcast Engineer is a Skaven, 100% of the time. Yeah, Outcast Engineer is running a Masterwork Pistol, which is good for Stormvermin and Maulers, but can be a little iffy. Oh, okay, so they have Stormfiend. This is not a great place to fight a Stormfiend, to be honest. Honestly, this room is probably the best room to fight a Stormfiend in. Okay, the elf is down, as usual. That room that the Stormfiend spawns in is probably the best room to fight the Stormfiend in, simply because this, I'm waving my hands like you guys can see me. This, back room that they just walked out of is just way too many long, straight ledges, which is perfect for the Storm Fiend to just get a bunch of free damage on you. And this room is more of a square, more of like a rectangle or a square. I think it's more of a square. And that allows you to a lot more easily, kind of avoid the fire and avoid the lingering flames of the Storm Fiend. At this point, he is completely separated from his team with the boss up, so he needs to kill the rats and get back ASAP. Oh, that was lag talking right there. So something that I should talk about when you're not with your team. If you're unaware, whenever you are a certain distance away from your team, I don't know exactly what the distance is, but say if your team is like over here, and then, you know, there's a bunch of level over here, and then you're all the way over here, or someone else is all the way over here, the game is designed to spawn a bunch of disablers on top of you. A bunch of disablers on top of you to punish you from being away from your team. It's usually why when you're alone, you get a bunch of disabler spawns, because you're technically alone, so the game thinks you've run off from your team. So, you definitely don't want to wander off from your team if you can help it, because that's going to force spawn a bunch of disablers, and that is something you want to avoid at all costs. Oops. Unfortunately, he probably gets a little flustered there, which I've done myself, definitely. And with the ping, you probably couldn't have blocked that anyway. I think he's looking for the Ratling. Fortunately, the elf goes down there. See, the unfortunate part about this kind of composition is that you have two squishy ranged characters. And, you have two squishy ranged characters and one, basically one frontliner. I don't count the bot, because, like I said, you can't expect the bot to frontline. You can't expect the bot to do really anything except just be a bot and exist. See, and, he definitely should have been with his team right there. Because, simply put, they didn't have the bot. Even with the bot, he should have been down there. I don't even know where they are. So yeah, the moment that this Outcast Engineer, technically the moment that the elf went down, which is right here, I believe. Yeah, so he's fighting, he's keeping the boss busy. Right here, he should have immediately jumped down. Where is my drawing tool? He should have immediately dropped down right here and met his team and helped them. Because right here, they're struggling to contain the horde because, as we can see, of course not to throw hate at anyone or not to shit on any players. That's not the point of this. They're not. The elf is struggling to stay alive. The elf is definitely struggling here. And the Outcast Engineer is also struggling, partially because Outcast Engineer cannot deal with the horde frontline by himself. He just isn't built for it. So realistically put, especially since the bot is dead, he needs to be with his team and frontlining for them and keeping the horde off of his team. So he should have dropped right here and immediately been with his team. So that's definitely, I would say, the biggest mistake he's made so far. Right there, he could have. Another option is he could have dropped right here instead and kind of circled around this corner and met with his team and fought with them. Even if that leads the boss to them, that's still, you guys are still together. Because I know you might say, well, if he had the boss on him, he probably still has the boss on him. And if he leads, if he goes to be with his team, he's going to lead the boss to his team. And because this is a very narrow area with a lot of wide and narrow hallways and walkways, it's going to end up killing his team. But at this point, you can't worry about that simply because they're struggling just to contain basically what's just a trash horde with no elites, no specials, no monks, and no anything. And at that point, you just have to throw caution to the wind with that and just get to be with them. Good on him for kind of waiting. Oh yeah, like look at that delayed temp health. Yeah, so right here he needs to get out of that position. Good charge on him. He needs to get out of that position, get into a better position. This right here is where you could block cancel. You could do the left one or the light one and then light one block to get some free temp HP gain. Realistically, honestly. Right here he needs to back up, get away. Good. Put things in between you and the Ratling in order to prevent yourself from taking hits. Fighting at the corner, is pretty good there. It definitely... that Storm Fiend just bonked him. Pulling out a book. Another good thing he does here is he realizes back... If you realized, back a couple seconds ago, he realized that there was a concentration potion on the ground. So he consciously made the decision to use his potion to just kind of get some distance from the Storm Fiend. And here he's using another potion to rush for the res, which is also a very good idea. Remember, you always, 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 in a clutch situation, you want to use your resources. I said in another video, I think it was JSat who said this, if you die with items in your inventory, be it heals, bombs, or potions, you definitely made a mistake. In a situation like that, a clutch situation, you should always be using every resource you can to stay alive, and he did that, which was very, very good. That elf just decided she didn't want to do that anymore. She just decided she didn't want to deal with that anymore. Right here, it looks like the Outcast Engineer. This is kind of, you know, a difficult situation he's in because the Outcast Engineer is alone. The Waystalker is alone. Both of them are alone by themselves. And he kind of has to make the decision, okay, who do I stay with and who do I leave alone? And I think you can make arguments that he made the right decision by staying with the Outcast, but he also could have made the correct decision by going down with the Waystalker. Wow, this is kind of like the... Admittedly, I haven't played Legend in a very long time, but this definitely seems like a lot of, you know, horde spawns for Legend. This seems like sending the next wave, you know, on Cataclysm. Yeah, right here, this is the... Like, at this point... Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be where he dies. So, right here... it's like I said with self-preservation. Sometimes you just have to understand that you can't help your team. So right here, the engineer goes down. He charges to try to get a res. He should have gone for the res immediately at that point, but he might not have simply because he was on a high ping. And at this point, he is currently out of stamina. And he just knocked the horde back, and at this point they've recovered and they're going to start surrounding him again. And over here, he has Skaven currently surrounding him. So at this point, he should have said, okay, I can't do anything in this situation. This Outcast Engineer is dead, and he should have just immediately dodged out this way. Or he should have block canceled his way through these Skaven right here and just gotten out of dodge. But instead, I think he tries to stay with his team, and he tries to help the Outcast Engineer, and at this point, he just gets overwhelmed and he dies. And the elf is, of course, nowhere to be seen. I have no idea where the elf is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the elf is behind him trying to make a run for it, and then she ends up wiping, which causes the wipe. So yeah, definitely right there, he should have just gotten out of dodge. He should have just realized the Outcast Engineer was a lost cause at that point, and should have just abandoned him, and he and the elf probably could have made it work at that point. But yeah, so that is the end of the first submission. So thank you again so much to Jay Willie for submitting this video. It was a pleasure to it was a pleasure to review it. And if you guys want your videos to be reviewed, make sure to join the Discord in the link down below and check out the gameplay review submission channel for instructions on how to submit. See y'all next time.